When life broke you, who showed up? Nobody. And that's the truth no one tells you. The world doesn't love the loyal, it loves the useful. If you've ever been abandoned, betrayed, or underestimated, good. Because that was your initiation. Today, I'm giving you the blueprint that turns pain into power and weakness into a weapon. Here's the reality. Life isn't fair. It's not built on sympathy, it's built on strategy. And most people, they crumble because they were trained to chase love instead of leverage. But the men and women who rise, the ones you fear, the ones you respect, they live by a different code. They think differently. They move differently. And today, I'm going to share that code with you. These are principles forged in silence, in betrayal, in fire. They are not for the weak. They are for those ready to kill the old self and become untouchable. So if you're tired of being predictable, tired of being broken, tired of being the one who needs instead of commands, this is for you. Get ready, because what I'm about to share isn't motivation. It's war strategy. Number 1, utility over sympathy. Imagine a world where everyone plays by emotions, favoring loyalty over value, sympathy over strength. Sounds noble, right? But here's the hard truth. Life doesn't reward sentiment, it rewards utility. If you want power, influence, and unshakable mental strength, you need to embrace the first law, utility over sympathy. Think about it. In business, in politics, even in personal relationships, the people who rise aren't the ones who simply make others feel good. They're the ones who bring undeniable value. Loyalty is nice, but it's fragile. People will be loyal until it costs them too much. Emotions fade, alliances shift, but usefulness? That keeps you in the game. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago, and it's still true today. Be indispensable, not lovable. The moment you hinge your worth on being liked, you hand over your power. Being lovable makes you replaceable because affection is cheap. Someone more charming can walk in tomorrow and take your spot. But when you're the person others need, the one who solves problems, the one who makes things happen, removing you becomes impossible. Ask yourself right now, if everything in your life depended on your value, what would you bring to the table? Skills, connections, insight? Or are you banking on goodwill and loyalty? If it's the latter, you're standing on quicksand. This doesn't mean you have to be cold or robotic. It means you need to prioritize strategy over sentiment. Build skills that no one else has. Position yourself as the answer to critical problems. Make your presence so valuable that people think twice before crossing you. Not because they like you, but because they can't afford to lose you. Here's a reality check. If you disappeared tomorrow, would your company, your circle, your world suffer without you? If the answer is no, then you have work to do. The first law isn't about being ruthless. It's about being undeniable. When you're indispensable, loyalty follows naturally, not out of love, but out of necessity. And in a world driven by self-interest, necessity always wins. So remember, sympathy feels good, but utility wins wars. Stop asking, do they like me? Start asking, do they need me? Because in the end, survival belongs to the useful. Number 2, kill the old self. You can't build a new empire with the same weak foundation. The second law of mental strength is brutal, but it's the truth. Kill the old self. The pleaser, the dreamer, the version of you who needed validation, they have to die. Why? Because the world isn't built for who you were. It's built for who you need to become. Think about the habits, the fears, the insecurities that chained you to mediocrity. They served a purpose once. Maybe they kept you safe. Maybe they helped you survive. But survival and dominance are two different games. If you want to rise, you have to execute the old self without mercy. Evolution isn't gentle. It's violent. It doesn't negotiate. It replaces. Picture your life as a battlefield. Every day, you're fighting against competition, chaos, and uncertainty. The soldier who shows up with outdated armor, clinging to old tactics, dies first. If you go into today with yesterday's mindset, you've already lost. You can't take the approval-addicted version of you into war and expect victory. That part of you hesitates, apologizes, waits for permission. On the battlefield, hesitation is death. So ask yourself, what part of you needs to die for the next version to live? Maybe it's the voice that says, play it safe. Maybe it's the need to be liked, the one that keeps you soft and agreeable. Kill it. Burn it. Because the person who wins isn't the one who pleases. It's the one who adapts, who evolves fast enough to meet the demands of reality. The rule is simple. Become who the battlefield demands. Not who your past prefers, not who your friends expect, not even who you dreamed of being as a child. Those dreams were written by someone who didn't know the war ahead. Today demands a strategist, a fighter, a leader. If that person doesn't exist yet, then you have one job: build him and kill anything that stands in the way. So, bury the old self. Not tomorrow, not next week. Now, because every second you keep him alive, he drags you back into weakness. And in this world, weakness is a death sentence. Number 3. Weaponize pain. Pain. Most people run from it. They hide, numb, or drown it in distractions. But here's the truth. Pain is data, not a death sentence. The third law of mental strength is simple, savage, and liberating. Weaponize pain. Every scar you carry tells a story of failure, betrayal, heartbreak, loss. But hidden inside that suffering is intelligence. It's feedback, a brutal but honest teacher. Pain shows you where you were weak, where you trusted too much, where you ignored reality. It's not punishment, it's a map. If you read it correctly, it gives you a strategy no book, no mentor, no course can match. Think about it. The strongest people you know aren't strong because life was kind to them. They're strong because they were forged in fire, and instead of crying about the flames, they studied them. They asked, what does this teach me? Where's the advantage here? They turned setbacks into training. Every loss became a lesson. Every wound became armor. You can do the same. The rule is clear. Convert suffering into strength. That means stop wasting energy wishing life were easier. Instead, extract value from the pain. Got betrayed? Good. Now you know how to read character. Lost money? Perfect. You've learned a lesson no classroom could teach. Heartbroken? Use that rage, that hunger, to build a life so powerful that no one ever has the power to break you again. The alternative? You stay soft. You keep seeing pain as a verdict instead of a weapon. And then life keeps cutting you open because you never learn from the first wound. Pain will visit all of us, but whether it leaves you broken or unbreakable is your choice. Here's the mindset shift. The next time pain hits, don't say, why me? Say, what now? What do I build with this? Because every ounce of suffering can either crush you or construct you, and the difference is in what you do with it. So weaponize pain. Let it sharpen your instincts, harden your will, and clarify your vision. The scars you carry? They aren't weaknesses. They're blueprints for the empire you're about to build. Stay ruthless, because Law 4 will take this even further, and you're going to need every weapon you've got. Number 4, ruthlessness with control. Most people think kindness is a virtue without limits. They're wrong. The fourth law of mental strength will shatter that illusion. Ruthlessness with control. Because here's the truth. Unconditional kindness is weakness. Power doesn't come from random acts of mercy. It comes from precision. From knowing when to be generous and when to be a blade. This doesn't mean being cruel for sport. That's chaos, and chaos destroys power. True ruthlessness is not emotional. It's calculated. It's knowing that if you bend too easily, people will break you. If you forgive too quickly, they'll use you. If you give endlessly, they'll bleed you dry. Look at history. The leaders who endured weren't the ones who tried to please everyone. They weren't afraid to cut ties, enforce discipline, or eliminate threats. Why? Because control requires boundaries. And boundaries require a spine made of steel, not sympathy. The rule is simple. Mercy only when it serves you. That means every act of kindness should be strategic. Does it build loyalty? Does it strengthen your position? Does it make you indispensable? Then show mercy. But if mercy costs you power, status, or security, you can't afford it. This is not about being heartless. It's about survival in a world where power respects strength, not softness. Ask yourself, how many times have you been too forgiving, too lenient, too generous, only to be betrayed, disrespected, or left behind? Every time you allow it, you teach the world that you can be exploited. Stop teaching that lesson. Ruthlessness doesn't mean rage. It means control. It It means being the one who decides when to strike and when to spare based on strategy, not on guilt, not on fear of being disliked. Because being loved is optional. Being respected is non-negotiable. So train yourself to act like a surgeon. Cut precisely, spare strategically, and never bleed out because you didn't have the courage to make the hard choice. Remember, pity has no place on the battlefield. If you want to hold power, stop handing out mercy like candy. Save it for when it multiplies your strength. Anything else is weakness, and weakness always gets crushed. Number 5. Fortify the mind. The fifth law of mental strength is the foundation of all power. Fortify the mind. Because here's the reality. Before you conquer the world, you have to conquer your own head. Your mind is your kingdom, and if it's weak, everything else collapses. Most people leave their mental gates wide open. They let in doubt, fear, gossip, negativity, like enemy spies sneaking into the castle. And then they wonder why they feel powerless. Understand this. Your thoughts shape your actions, and your actions shape your empire. If your mind is chaos, your life will follow. The rule is absolute. Thoughts are soldiers. Discipline them. Every idea, every belief, every emotion, either it fights for you or against you. So stop letting weak thoughts live rent-free. Stop replaying failures. Stop obsessing over opinions. Stop feeding your brain trash. If a thought doesn't serve your strategy, kill it on sight. Fortifying the mind isn't about pretending life is perfect. It's about control. It's about filtering every input. What you read, what you watch, who you listen to, because these things are weapons aimed at your mental walls. Ask yourself, are the voices around you sharpening your edge or dulling your blade? If the answer is dulling, cut them off. A king doesn't let traitors linger in the throne room. And this goes deeper. Mental discipline means mastering your internal dialogue. No more, I can't. No more, what if I fail? Replace them with commands. Execute. Adapt. Conquer. Speak to yourself like a commander before battle. Because if you don't control your mind, someone else will. And trust me, their agenda isn't your victory. The mind you build today determines the life you rule tomorrow. That means daily drills. Read strategically, plan ruthlessly, meditate for clarity, and guard your attention like treasure. If you waste hours scrolling through nonsense, you've handed your enemies the keys to your fortress. So remember this. Your mind is your first and last defense. Build high walls of focus. Arm it with knowledge. Train it for war. Because when the world turns hostile, and it will, the difference between collapse and conquest will be the strength of your mental fortress. 6. Master strategic silence. The sixth law of mental strength is one most people will never master. Master strategic silence. Why? Because the average person can't stand an empty space. They rush to fill silence with words, secrets, excuses, handing away their power one sentence at a time. But Machiavelli knew this. Power thrives in mystery. The more you talk, the more you expose. The more you explain, the more leverage you give away. Silence, on the other hand, makes people guess. And when people guess, they reveal themselves. The rule is simple. Silence is your sharpest weapon. It confuses enemies, unnerves rivals, and makes allies lean in. People fear what they can't read. And when your moves are invisible, you're untouchable. Think of silence as armor and a blade. Armor because it protects your intentions. A blade because it cuts through noise and forces attention. When you stop oversharing, you become unpredictable, and unpredictability is power. Look at the most influential leaders, the most feared players in history. They didn't broadcast every thought or plan. They let others talk themselves into traps. They let rumors build their legend. They understood that mystery multiplies influence. When you speak less, every word you choose to say carries weight, and weight commands respect. Here's the trap. People think talking equals control. It doesn't. Talking is exposure. Every opinion you spill, every plan you reveal becomes a weapon someone can use against you. Strategic silence flips the game. It forces others to reveal their strategies first. It makes people uncomfortable, and in discomfort they make mistakes. This doesn't mean you stay mute. It means you speak with intent. Every word should be a move, not a leak. Every silence should be a strategy, not an accident. So next time you feel the urge to explain yourself, resist. Let the silence work. When someone presses for details, give them nothing but a smile. Let them wonder, because the moment they start asking questions, you've already taken control. Remember, mystery isn't weakness, it's dominance. And silence isn't emptiness, it's power waiting to strike. Number 7. Detach from need. The 7th law of mental strength will rip the leash off your neck. Detach from need. Because here's the brutal truth. Need is slavery. The moment you need someone, something, or some outcome, you've handed away your power. You've placed your destiny in someone else's hands. Need makes you predictable. It makes you weak. People can smell it, and they will use it. The person who needs approval becomes a puppet. The person who needs money will compromise principles. The person who needs love will tolerate disrespect. Need is a leash, and someone is always holding the other end. The rule is simple. Want but never need. Desire is human, but dependency is fatal. Want success, want wealth, want connection, but make sure your existence doesn't collapse without it. When you need, you bargain from weakness. When you want, you move with choice. Think of the strongest players in history. They negotiate like predators because they don't fear walking away. That's power, the ability to detach. When you can look at something and say, I want this, but I can live without it, you become untouchable. Detachment isn't about being cold or careless. It's about building enough strength and self-sufficiency that nothing outside you owns you. That means mastering your emotions, securing your finances, controlling your impulses. Every layer of independence you build is another chain broken. Ask yourself, what do you currently need so badly that you'd compromise for it? Someone's approval? A job? A relationship? Be honest. Because until you cut that leash, you'll keep living as someone else's pawn. Here's the paradox. The moment you detach from need, you gain leverage. People chase those who can walk away. Opportunities flow to those who don't cling. Freedom makes you magnetic because everyone else is desperate, and desperation stinks. So make this your mindset. Nothing owns me. I want everything, but I need nothing. When you move from that place, you stop chasing and start attracting. You stop fearing loss because you know the real power isn't in what you hold. It's in what you can let go of without breaking. Detach from need. Kill the leash. Because the freest man in the room is always the most dangerous. Number 8. Cold empathy. The 8th law of mental strength is one of the most dangerous and the most powerful. Cold empathy. Most people think empathy means feeling what others feel. That's weakness. It makes you reactive, emotional, and easily manipulated. Machiavelli's truth is different. Understand emotions without being ruled by them. Emotions drive human behavior. They start wars, end alliances, create markets, and destroy kings. If you can read emotions, you can predict actions. And if you can predict actions, you can control outcomes. That's the essence of cold empathy, seeing the emotional map without stepping into it. The rule is clear. Read minds. Don't bleed for them. This means you need to observe like a surgeon, not a savior. Listen to tone, watch body language, analyze word choices. Every human leaks information. What they fear, what they crave, what they can't admit. Most people are too busy reacting to notice. You won't be. Cold empathy gives you an edge in every arena. Business, negotiation, relationships, power struggles. Why? Because while others drown in feelings, you'll be steering the current. When someone lashes out, you'll see insecurity. When someone flatters you, you'll smell hidden agendas. Emotions become data, not weapons against you. But here's the trap. You can't start caring too much. Compassion is fine, attachment is poison. The moment you absorb their pain as yours, you lose clarity. Your job isn't to carry their emotions. It's to map them and use that map to navigate. Ask yourself, how often have you been played because you trusted a sub-story? How many times have you lost leverage because you got angry when someone provoked you? Every time, your emotions became a leash. Cold empathy cuts that leash while giving you the blueprint of theirs. So train for it. When you talk to someone, ask, what do they want? What do they fear? What would make them move? This isn't cruelty, it's strategy. Because if you want influence, You must master the game of feelings without becoming a piece on the board. Remember, power isn't about being heartless. It's about being unshaken. Feel nothing deeply, but notice everything completely. That's how you control the flow while everyone else drowns in it. Hashtag 9. Anticipate betrayal. The ninth law of mental strength is brutal but necessary. Anticipate betrayal. Because here's the reality. Loyalty ends the moment it becomes expensive. Most people will stay true to you as long as it benefits them. The second the cost rises, the mask slips. This isn't cynicism. It's survival. Humans are self-interested creatures. Promises are just words. Circumstances change, and so do people. If your power, your plans, your peace rely on blind trust, you're already standing on a trapdoor. The only question is when it opens. The rule is simple. Trust patterns, not promises. Promises sound good in the moment, but patterns reveal the truth. How has this person acted under pressure? When temptation appeared? When loyalty demanded sacrifice? That history is your forecast. If they've betrayed before, they'll do it again. If they've lied to others, they'll lie to you. Never ignore patterns for the comfort of words. Betrayal rarely happens in an instant. It brews quietly, shifts in tone, subtle withdrawals, new alliances forming in the shadows. If you're paying attention, the signs are there. That's why anticipation is everything. The strongest players always plan 2 moves ahead. They ask, if this ally flips, what's my counter? If this deal collapses, what's my backup? They build contingencies before the storm hits. You can't eliminate betrayal, but you can defang it. That means diversifying your alliances, controlling the information you share, and never putting all your leverage in one person's hands. Keep your circle tight, but keep your escape routes tighter. Here's the mindset shift. Expect betrayal, and you'll never be blindsided. Hope for loyalty, but never depend on it. If someone stays true, that's a bonus, not a foundation. Because the moment you need loyalty, you've already violated Law 7, detach from need. Ask yourself right now, who in your life holds the power to ruin you if they turned? That's your weak point. Fix it, remove it, or build around it. Because in this game, betrayal isn't an accident. It's a pattern you failed to prepare for. Number 10. Become the storm. The 10th and final law of mental strength is the ultimate transformation. Become the storm. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. Stop enduring life like a victim of fate. The powerful don't adapt to the world. They force the world to adapt to them. Most people spend their lives reacting, weathering storms, praying for calm seas, clinging to safety. That's weakness disguised as wisdom. Machiavelli's truth is this. If you want power, you can't just survive chaos. You have to become chaos. Controlled, calculated, and unstoppable. The rule is absolute. Don't weather storms, be one. That means moving with precision and inevitability. When you strike, it's not random rage. It's strategy with the force of nature behind it. Your presence should shake foundations. Your decisions should make others recalibrate their plans. You don't just play the game. You flip the board when it suits you. How do you do this? First, destroy passivity. No more waiting for opportunities. They're taken, not given. Create them. Kick doors open. Force conversations. Make your goals so non-negotiable that the world has no choice but to bend or break. Second, embrace unpredictability. Predictable players get controlled. Unpredictable players dominate. Move in ways others can't forecast. Change pace. Change tactics. Keep everyone guessing while you stay 5 steps ahead. Finally, build inevitability. A storm doesn't ask permission. It arrives and nothing stands in its way. That's the energy you need. Relentless consistency combined with ruthless adaptability. If a path closes, carve another. If a wall blocks you, turn it into rubble. Every obstacle becomes fuel. Every setback becomes momentum. People will fear you, not because you're cruel, but because you're unstoppable. They'll either join your current or be swept away by it. That's the essence of power, commanding reality, not negotiating with it. Ask yourself, are you enduring life or commanding it? Are you waiting for the storm to pass, or are you ready to bring the storm? Because those who wait die in mediocrity. Those who move like chaos with precision become legends. The 10 laws aren't theories, they're weapons. Forge them into your mindset. Live them. Because in a world of pawns and players, the storm decides the game.